And because I know that John Michael called you, Alex, the like embrace of violent ends, saying the film would be over in like 5 minutes if Emma didn't sort of disarm us immediately. Like, how did you approach embodying, I guess, like the quiet strength and like that disarming humanity?
I didn't think of it that way, which is really key. Never do I ever think that I have that much like power or sway. I think that that can be really intimidating. So I just went into it thinking, okay, Emma is kind of a comedic relief. She's in a rom-com, and I think it was really important to show the love and the funny and the history between her and Lucas. And I really kind of wanted to have that so that when that rug kind of gets pulled out from under you, you go, this is not the movie I thought I was watching. And that really jumped off the page for me. So it was really important for me to kind of bring that to Emma.
Yeah. And Nick, I know like what he said that your work rewards a second viewing, that sort of like beneath the surface lies, like he said, some of the most subtle, like desperately human acting of your career. I guess how did you build that kind of quiet interior p performance?
I mean, I feel like it was all kind of there already on the page, to be honest. I mean, he wrote a really great script. I feel like I just really, I got the Tuck character right away, and yeah, just try, just kind of had to show up and do it, and got to work with some great actors like Billy. Um so it makes it a lot easier when you have a lot of talented people around you who are who are also hardworking and showing up, and everybody wanting it to be as good as possible. So that's what we had. So you know
It was one of those films when like and like I guess anytime like someone popped up, I was like, holy shit, like they're in this as like the casting is incredible. And I wanted to ask like because I was thinking about it when it's like an early scene with James Badge Dale's character where he's eating like ribs, I think, and it just felt like a very like a choice that he kind of I don't know, like it could have been scripted, but it felt like a choice that he specifically made. And I wanted to ask like both of you, was there something about your characters that you put in your own personality, whether it was like something that you wore, something like that you like a scent, like was there a backstory that you specifically gave your character? Was there something that made them like inherently Alex and inherently Nick to you?
I think that for Emma, I I wanted her to be in awe of the life that she's about to have.
Hmm.
She's just on the precipice of like getting the guy and starting the family and really loving her life and really loving her family and the family that she's marrying into. And so I kind of wanted to bring that to the table. And I've been in love in my life. I've been on this planet a good amount of time, and I've loved before, and I really kind of wanted to bring that excitement about the future to Emma so that when it's taken from her, everyone's just kind of like, but wait, why? No, hold on.
yeah,
Is there anything
yeah, for me. Yeah, I mean, I think it's, I think I, bring a piece of myself into every role that I've done. And there was a lot to this guy that I felt like I could relate to. Um, the relationship with his mom, kind of spoke to me. Uh, I I don't have a brother, so that was sort of so I sort of related that to, I think, like some cousins, growing up. But so I don't know. I mean, I feel like you know, Tuck is one of these guys who always seems like he's his heart's in the right place, and he just can't seem to get it together and execute. And but like I said before, I mean, I feel like it was just it was so well illustrated by by JM and the script, and it's easy when the character's already there and you feel like you just have to show up and hit your mark, you know. That's what it felt like. So
We were just talking earlier about it was the first. It was joking like the first movie that Billy Magnussen felt masculine in, which was one of the jokes that we were having because like everything else and we were like, you know what? Yeah, you're a man now, Billy, thanks to this movie. And I
Um,
like one of the things that this film sort of talks about. It's like it's like pressing on the bruise of like inherited anger and like but bruises obviously heal as well. And it's like what I guess this could be a heavy question, but like I guess what would healing look like in the world of violent ends for Emma and Tuck? Like if you could add a scene at the very end, no dialogue, no violence, to show that healing, like what would that look like to both of your characters?
I think we get that at
Yeah.
the end for Emma. I think that final scene between Emma and Lucas at the end, that dreamy flashback of the beginning, I think that is healing. I
Mm.
think that in that moment they choose each other and choose themselves. I want this. I want you. I want to have a future with you. And I think that there's nothing more healing, especially when it comes to inherited ancestral trauma and all of the things, for someone to say, this is what I want and I want it with you, and just to be vulnerable and ask for what they need and to receive that as well. I think we do actually get that. Luckily, JM already wrote the scene, so I don't have to imagine it.
mhm, true. Yeah, for Tuck, I guess it would be sort of an amends to his brother, which sort of starts to happen right before the final the final scene. Because he makes a tragic mistake that he can't, that had unintended consequences, and he can't that he can't take back. And but you know not to spoil it for the audience, but you sort of figure out that that there's some sort of secrets revealed, and but I think it's a coming together with his brother would be the maybe the healing scene for Tuck.
Because
I
watching
love
it,
that
like,
so
yeah,
much.
like it definitely, yeah, without sort of spoiling anything, but it definitely certain things happen to certain characters and certain reveals happen that I was not expecting and kind of just like, break, continue, you sort of let it go, how much more can my heart be be broken? And it's sort of over and over again.
Hmm.
But like, I guess for you as actors, like, is it one of those things where I guess, do you like knowing where the characters are going, or do you kind of like to sort of have it revealed to you as you're going, if that makes sense? Like, do you kind of like, I guess obviously you read the script from beginning to end, but like just in general, do you sort of like being like, okay, I feel secure knowing where my character's going, or do you sort of like a little bit of like, oh, I'm surprised now that this is what my character finds themselves in?
Um, well, I think as actors who have to be able to create the character arc, I need to know what happens with my
Mm.
character. Um, but from an audience standpoint, what I love about this film is so much is revealed after the fact,
Mm.
like this is a movie that you watch multiple times and you get all of the Easter eggs and you see the motivation behind Tuck and you see all of the love that was between Lucas and Emma, and you get it. So I think there are a lot of Easter eggs in this film. It's very a la Fight Club, right? You got to watch it multiple times to really be able to appreciate it. Because you watch it once and you're like, oh, that was a good movie. Then you watch it twice and you're like, are you kidding me? That's why. Oh, and that's good filmmaking for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also good writing. Like there's the big twist for my character. I genuinely didn't see coming and reading the script, so it was just testament to John Michael's writing as well.
And like Emma sort of like, she walks through this built world of like, men's violence, but like she sort of refuses to surrender her softness as well. Like, do you think that sort of like that gentleness can survive proximity to brutality, or do you sort of feel like it evolves into something else entirely?
I think that there is such a quiet strength
Yeah.
in being able to be gentle.
Mm.
Um, because Emma's not dumb and she knows the man that she's marrying and she knows the family that she's marrying into and she's not afraid. And so to be able to be in the face of the Frost family
Mm.
and stand with such confidence and acceptance and resilience, I think it takes a huge amount of strength to be a part of that. It's easy to walk away from things that are hard, but when it comes to love, facing it is, I think, the strongest thing you can do. And I really think that Emma and all of the women in this movie encompass a level of strength that is not brute force, but it is a level of survival, right? And I think it's a better strength. I think girls are better than boys. How's that at?
Well, as I said, like to JM and Billy, like it was just like I feel like, I've just seen so many films, and it just was one of those things that like I love being taken by surprise, even when it's something that you sort of think you know where it's going, and it completely changes that trajectory. I think he said that he wants it to be like, what The Godfather was to the Italian mob, like he wants it to be for like, ne'er-do-well sort of Southerners, and it's just this, it's a beautiful film, but it's like it's brutal, and it's like, and I'm just like, I'm so excited that it's out there in the world and it's getting a cinema release, and we're seeing, like original stories and original voices being amplified. So yeah, I really just have to thank you both for being a part of a film like this, because, it's showing what can be done on, a smaller budget. We don't need a lot of the bells and whistles to tell a really good story. So yeah, just congratulations again to both of you, and thank you so much for taking the time out.
Thank you.
Thank you for being up at the crack of dawn to come talk to us.
Right. You are a trooper.
We appreciate it.
No,
All right.
yeah, I spoke to JM and Billy and Alexandra and Nick last week, so I'm all over the film. And it's quite funny. JM was sort of saying that this is the the first movie that he felt Billy Magnuson was masculine in, which I thought was quite quite amusing. And like he said, like I know that when he first saw you in character, like your hair cropped and your eyes burning, he forgot he was talking to you. Like he said that that's how you fully disappeared into Sydney. So for Sid, so for you, like, what was your way
You
into
can call me
him?
Sydney. It's okay.
What was your way into him? Was it physical, like the look, the stance, or was it psychological for you?
First off, I just got to say, Billy is fantastic in this movie.
Oh,
I
so
think,
good. Yeah.
like, yeah, he's so masculine. He also, him and Alexandra have really nailed that love story, and there's
Yeah.
this beautiful other side that he lets out, that she lets out, and that story works so well for the rest of this to kind of take place and for you
Yeah.
to cheer. Um, my thing with Sid and yeah, especially that haircut, I was like, I said to John Michael, man, I was like, hey, I want something. I want a haircut here. I want like a look where it does the work for me.
Mm.
So I can not worry about that at all. I can just go to work and have fun,
Mm.
because this is about energy for me. You know what I mean? This is about this thing, bringing this kind of force or energy to it. I don't want to have to reach too hard for that. I don't want to have to try to act like a badass. I just want to have fun and enjoy this thing.
Yeah.
Um, so that's where the world's worst haircut came from.
Well, like he feels like, he feels like a man who has sort of been taught that like power is like the only language love understands essentially. Like, do you see him as someone who was born violent or was made violent by his surroundings?
That's such a good question of like nature versus nurture. You know,
Yeah.
I have two young boys, 1 and 4. You know, and they're beautiful and they're sweet and they're wild and you know, like I don't know what Sid was like as a kid. You know what I
Mm.
mean? But what I do know is that, you know, there's hard families out there. You know, my father's side of the family is pretty gritty and tough, and we don't talk to a lot of them anymore. You know what I mean? There's a lot of alcohol, and you know, you can be raised in a certain environment
Mm.
that will train you to be a certain way. And for Sid, you got to remember that he's institutionalized also. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to remember, like, okay, maybe even if you start off with a screw loose, now there are certain things that can affect your life and affect the way you operate through it, and with these certain sets of rules. And you know, the way I looked at it, it was like, you know, beginning of the movie, Sid's getting out of prison.
Mm.
I think he knows how this is going to go down. I think, you know, he's like, hey man, you know, if I make it a month outside, cool.
Yeah.
Maybe I won't make it a month. Maybe I make it a week. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. Like, Sid to me was like an intensely present human being.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of that sort of like the way that the film treats, I guess, violence overall. Like it feels like an inheritance. Like it's like something passed down. It's not necessarily like chosen. Like when you think about Sid, like do you think he believes violence is how you survive or like how you belong to this family?
Definitely survived,
Yeah.
definitely part of life, and he's definitely comfortable with it. Just really comfortable with it,
Mm.
you know?
And like, you've played men on the edge, like soldiers, fathers, outlaws, like people built to endure. Like, I guess, how do you find the humanity in characters like that who are so like emotionally armored? Because, we still need to essentially care about these characters, even if they're not doing the right thing. But yeah, like, how do you sort of find a way to be like, look, this is still a person at the end of the day?
Yeah, where's the humanity in that?
Mm.
Um, you know, when Sid's brother is killed, and Sid's like, okay, you know how this goes.
Mm.
Your place or mine. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like. Did he cry about his brother? Like, how bummed out is he about it? I don't know. I never looked at him as like that emotional of a person. You know what I
Mm.
mean? I think there was a scorched earth mentality, and that's how he survives this world, and that's how he will continue to see the world straight up to the point where it turns off for him. You
Yeah.
know?
One of the things that I loved about your performance in this, and I feel like I've seen it in a lot of your performances, like you have this sort of like rare ability to make silence feel like kind of dangerous. Like, like Sid here is sort of thinking like three terrible things at once almost. Like is there something like internal for you in those moments of stillness that sort of that you're able to just sort of stay so still?
I Oh man, now we're gonna get into an acting conversation. Let's talk some acting here for a sec. I don't want to give up too many tricks of the trade because there are
Yeah.
tricks to the trade. You know, Liam Neeson said something to me that I never, always stuck in my head. I never forgot it. We're doing The Gray,
Hmm.
and you know, we were talking about, you know, Frank Grillo was there. Hey, we had this very male cast, and you know, Liam had, you know, he had, you know, the Taken movies had just really rocketed his career, and
Hmm.
you know, they talked about like, okay, are people trying to start fights with you on the street? Because Liam's a big guy, and
Yeah.
like, you know, it's a movie though, you know, it's he's not Jason Bourne, and Liam would talk about it. He's like, he said, you know, Badge, you're an actor, you know how to stare. And he goes,
Hmm.
well, someone comes up to me on the street and I think it's there. I stare at him for 10 seconds. And then I just say no and I walk away. But he was talking about that stillness. And that stillness is something that as actors you do work on, because it's magnetic and it's your power, and especially if you're working on stage.
Yeah.
You know, I saw Michael Shannon do the play Bug at the Barrow Street Theater, and he walked on stage and, no joke, didn't move for the first 10 minutes of that play. Just stood there, dropping his line, throwing lines, stood there still, and you couldn't take your eyes off him, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not that he's doing nothing. He's doing fucking everything. You know what I mean? It's like, it's this vibrating thing. So, yeah, all right. That's sorry, I got a little actory right there. You know,
No, it just made me think, like, actually, like, how terrifying it would be for Liam Neeson to just like stand over you and stare at you for 10 seconds.
yeah.
I'd be like, I'll be like, I'm gone, I'm done.
Yeah,
Like, whatever I was gonna ask you, I'm not asking.
oh, but you know, it's like Liam is like the sweetest, nicest, kindest man. He's so
Yeah.
open. He gave so much to like that entire film crew and that set, and all these young actors like me, especially. Like he big brothered me, you know, and I've been lucky in my life and in my career. I've had these older actors who have been like, hey, come here. I want to teach you some things that so-and-so taught me 30, 40 years ago, you know, and now I'm in a position where I can, you know, hang out with younger guys on film sets and tell them the old stories, you know, the old gypsy carnival stories and that culture that actors have, you know.
Yeah. Well, I sort of feel like, you know, like I know that John Michael has said about Violent Ends that it's like an anti-Western. It's about the death of that mythic righteous man with the gun. Like, and you know, Sid seems like a descendant of those old Western archetypes. You know, he's a man who makes mistake, you know, but control for strength. Like, did you approach him as a symbol of that dying myth, or as someone like too human to be symbolic?
No, I saw him as a symbol. I saw him as an instrument of
Yeah.
destruction. You know what I mean? Like that scene with Kate Burton where we're talking in the diner, and we talk about both being destroyers.
Yeah.
You know, that was the truth. That to me was Sid telling the truth. You know, so like that's, and as an actor, I can lock into that and like play with that. I can run with that. You know, and I thought it was so beautiful to watch Kate play the opposite throughout that movie. You know what I mean? She's fighting to not be a destroyer. She's fighting to be part of the light in this really unjust world, you know?
Yeah. No, that was the scene that I sort of I asked pretty much everybody about, because like the way that you were eating the ribs, almost like I think it was ribs, that it felt like such a distinct character choice, and almost just like a kind of like a fuck you, I can do whatever I want. Like it just felt like a really specific thing to do, that I kind of loved, that he's just sitting there talking, eating, and you just go, oh, he's gonna get away, like he's gonna get away with everything, but we don't really know. But it was that scene, just for some reason, like really like solidified just how kind of effortless you are at like just commanding presence. And it's like the simplest thing, but it was like such a masterful scene. So I just want to, I've said congratulations to everybody, and I'll say congratulations to you, because it really is an incredible film. Like I went into it not knowing what to expect, and I love that we're still getting these original, you know, films in the world right now. And you know, JM just created something, you know, amazing and masterful and beautiful and brutal all at the same time. So congratulations, and yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for talking and spending some time with us, and you know, rock and roll. Violence.
No worries.
Tomorrow,
Yeah.
Halloween.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Hey man, thank you.